You took melatonin last night, or the night before, and you still woke up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, mind already running through tomorrow before today has even finished. You are not sleeping badly because you are stressed. You are sleeping badly because nobody taught you what Japan figured out centuries before melatonin was invented. And the method has nothing to do with supplements, darkness, or counting anything. Japan has one of the lowest rates of sleep disorder in the industrialized world. Not because Japanese people have easier lives, not because they have better mattresses. Because 5 specific things happen in the hours before a Japanese person closes their eyes that almost never happen in a Western bedroom, and not one of them involves anything you can buy. By the end of this video, you will have all 5. Method number 4 is the one most sleep researchers say has the most immediate measurable effect. And method number 5 is the one that nobody talks about, the one that is not about sleep at all, and the one that may be the only reason you are still waking up at 3 a.m. after trying everything else. Stay with me, because method 5 will change what you do tonight, and it will work tonight, not in 3 weeks, tonight. Before we get into the 5 methods, there is something worth understanding about why melatonin fails most people who try it. Because if you understand this one mechanism, everything on this list will make immediate sense. Melatonin is not a sleeping pill. It is a timing signal. It tells your body that darkness has arrived and that sleep should begin preparing. It does not produce sleep. It announces the possibility of sleep. Taking melatonin when your nervous system is still in an activated, stress-primed state is like sending a text message to someone who has turned off their phone. The message arrives. Nothing happens. The real reason most Western women wake at 3 a.m. is not a melatonin deficiency. It is a cortisol problem that was set in motion hours earlier. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, follows a predictable daily curve. It should peak in the morning to wake you, fall across the day, and reach its lowest point in the hours of deepest sleep. But a nervous system that has been under sustained, unresolved demand, the kind that comes from a day of small stressors never fully released, produces a second cortisol rise in the early hours of the morning, right around 3 a.m. The brain reads unresolved stress as ongoing threat and brings you out of deep sleep to deal with it. Japan's 5 methods do not supplement your way past this. They prevent the cortisol problem from building in the first place, and that is the only thing that has ever actually worked. Method number 1, and this is the one that has the most science behind it and the least effort required. Take a warm bath or shower between 1 and 2 hours before bed. Not right before, not a quick rinse, a real, warm, unhurried soak for 10 to 15 minutes. And then stop. Here is the exact mechanism. When warm water touches your skin, your blood vessels dilate and blood moves toward the surface of your body. Your skin temperature rises. Then, when you step out and that surface warmth dissipates into the cooler air of your bathroom, your core body temperature drops. That drop, that precise physiological shift, is the signal your brain uses to initiate the deepest stages of sleep. You are not relaxing your way into sleep. You are triggering a specific thermal cascade that your brain has been designed to read as safe to go deep. Dr. Shahab Hagayag at the University of Texas found that a warm bath taken 1 to 2 hours before bed reduced the time it took participants to fall asleep by an average of 10 minutes and significantly increased the proportion of time spent in deep, slow-wave sleep, not because of the warmth, because of the drop that follows it. In Japan, the Ofuro, a deep soaking tub kept considerably hotter than a Western bath, is an evening ritual for most of the population, practiced not to get clean, but to get ready. The water understood the mechanism long before the research did. Tonight, 1 to 2 hours before you intend to sleep, warm water for 10 to 15 minutes, then out. That is method 1. And if you do nothing else on this list, this one alone will change how you sleep tonight. Stay with me, because method 2 addresses the thing that is undoing the work of method 1 in the 30 minutes after you get out. Method number 2, and this one is the one you have probably heard before, but you have not heard the part that makes it actually work. Stop using screens in the last hour before bed. You know this, and you do not do it. So let me tell you why it matters at a level that might actually change your behavior. The blue spectrum light emitted by phones and televisions is read by the cells at the back of your eye as daylight, not dim light, daylight. A 2015 Harvard study found that evening blue light exposure delays melatonin onset by up to 3 hours. But here is the part that is less often mentioned. The delay does not just push back when you fall asleep, it changes the architecture of the sleep that follows. Sleep that begins after a delayed melatonin onset contains less slow-wave deep sleep in the first half of the night, which is when the majority of physical restoration occurs. You can sleep 8 hours and wake up exhausted because the structure of those hours was wrong. In Japan, the concept of kanzo, simplicity through deliberate removal of stimulation, shapes how evenings are experienced. Dimmer lighting, quieter rooms, screens down earlier, not as a productivity strategy, as a physiological one. The environment itself is designed to stop sending the nervous system a daylight signal while asking it to prepare for night. The practical shift is this: 1 hour before your intended sleep time, every screen goes dim or off. If you cannot do 1 hour, start with 30 minutes. Blue light filter settings help but do not eliminate the problem. Distance from the screen matters. Brightness matters most. Method 2 does not require willpower. It requires a decision made once, at a specific time, that becomes a structure rather than a nightly negotiation. Here is what most people do not realize. Methods 1 and 2 alone will change the first half of your night. But the reason you are waking at 3 a.m. is not in the first half. It is in what happens to your nervous system before it ever gets to sleep. That is method 3. And it is the one nobody explains correctly. Method number 3, the one nobody explains correctly. Your nervous system does not turn off because you got into bed. It turns off when it receives a signal that the day is genuinely finished. Not paused, finished. Most Western evenings never send that signal. You work until you are too tired to work, scroll until you are too heavy to scroll, and fall into bed with your nervous system still running the background processes of an unfinished day. The sleep that follows is technically sleep. It is not restoration. In Japan, there is a practice called Yoru no Shizukeisa, the quiet of the evening. It is not a single action. It is a deliberate sequence of small behaviors repeated in the same order every night that the nervous system learns, over time, to read as the signal that the day is done and descent towards sleep is safe to begin. For many Japanese women, this sequence involves 3 specific things. First, a cup of mujika, roasted barley tea, naturally caffeine-free, taken slowly at a table with nothing else happening. Second, a brief physical preparation for the following morning, a bag by the door, clothes laid out, one thing written down, so that tomorrow's version of you does not have to start the day solving problems in a depleted state. Third, a written record of one moment from the day, not a gratitude list, not a journal, one sentence, one moment that was worth keeping. Here is what those 3 actions are doing neurologically. Consistency in pre-sleep behavior trains the nervous system to treat those actions as a conditioned cue, the way a specific scent can trigger a memory before conscious thought. Over time, the ritual itself becomes the signal. Your cortisol begins dropping before you have finished the tea. Your heart rate slows before you have written the sentence. The nervous system has learned what comes next. Research published in the Journal of Sleep Research has consistently found that a regular pre-sleep routine is one of the strongest predictors of sleep quality independent of all other variables measured. Not a supplement, not a device, a sequence, small, consistent, the same every night. Build yours. Keep it under 20 minutes. Keep it identical every night. Give your nervous system something to follow into rest instead of waiting for exhaustion to push it there. Stay with me, because method 4 is the one sleep researchers say has the most immediate effect. And it takes less than 60 seconds. Method number 4, less than 60 seconds, the most immediately measurable effect on your nervous system of anything on this list. When you get into bed tonight, before you close your eyes, do this. Take a normal breath in through your nose, then take a second, smaller breath in on top of it, inflating your lungs fully. Then exhale slowly and completely through your mouth, releasing everything. Repeat 3 times. This is called the physiological sigh. It was identified by researchers at Stanford as the fastest known method for reducing physiological stress in real time. Here is the mechanism. Throughout the day, small air sacs in your lungs called alveoli collapse under sustained breathing patterns. This collapse is one of the signals your body reads as low-level physical stress. The double inhale re-inflates those alveoli. The long exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state that is the biological prerequisite for deep sleep, within seconds of the exhale completing. In Japan, controlled breathing practices have been embedded in daily life through martial arts, tea ceremony, and meditation traditions for centuries. Not as spiritual practice, but as physiological management. The understanding that the breath is the fastest route to the body's state preceded the neuroscience by hundreds of years. 3 physiological sighs. In bed, before you close your eyes. Tonight. Method 4 takes 50 seconds and changes the physiological starting point of your entire night. But here is the thing. Methods 1 through 4 will give you the best first half of sleep you have had in years. The 3 a.m. waking is a different problem, and it requires method 5, the one nobody talks about. Method number 5, the one nobody talks about, the one that is not about sleep at all, and the one that may be the only reason you are still waking at 3 a.m. after trying everything else. The 3 a.m. waking is not a sleep problem. It is an unresolved mental load problem that has borrowed the language of sleep to get your attention. When your brain holds more unfinished cognitive tasks than it can quietly store, it uses the lightest sleep stage, the one that naturally occurs around 3 to 4 hours into the night, as processing time. It wakes you to think, not because anything is wrong, because it has learned that the only time you will give it uninterrupted quiet for unresolved things is when you are awake in the dark with nowhere else to go. In Japan, there is a concept called ema, the intentional gap, deliberate protected time that is not productive, not stimulating, and not scheduled for anything. Most Western women have not had a genuinely unoccupied moment in years. Every gap is filled. The commute has a podcast, the bath has a phone, the 5 minutes between tasks has a scroll. The nervous system never gets the quiet it needs to process what happened during the day, so it borrows it at 3 a.m. The method is not a wind-down routine. It is earlier than that. It is a daily window of genuine emptiness. 10 to 20 minutes, somewhere in the afternoon or early evening, where nothing is happening. No input, no output, no task. Just existing, without stimulation, while the nervous system catches up on what the day produced. Research on what neuroscientists call default mode network activity, the brain's own processing and consolidation system, has found that it operates most effectively during these unstructured, unstimulated periods. It is not rest. It is active work that only the brain can do, and only when you stop doing everything else long enough to let it. The women who stop waking at 3 a.m. are not the ones who found the right supplement or the right white noise frequency. They are the ones who gave their nervous system 15 minutes of genuine quiet during the day, consistently, until the brain stopped borrowing it from the night. Give your nervous system its quiet during the day, and it will stop taking it from your sleep. Here is everything in one breath. Between 1 and 2 hours before bed, take a warm bath. 1 hour before bed, every screen goes dim or off. In the 30 minutes before you close your eyes, follow a small, consistent sequence of 3 things that tell your nervous system the day is genuinely finished. In bed, before closing your eyes, 3 physiological sighs. And every day, somewhere between afternoon and evening, 10 to 15 minutes of nothing. No input, no output, just quiet. Given on purpose before the night has to take it. 5 methods. None of them require a prescription. None of them require a product. Every one of them can begin tonight in the life you are already living. You do not have a sleep problem. You have a nervous system that has never been given the right conditions to do what it already knows how to do. Japan built those conditions into the texture of daily life so quietly for so long that they stopped being methods and became simply how evening worked. They can work that way for you too, not in 3 weeks, starting tonight. If this changed something about how you think about your sleep, share it with one woman in your life who has tried everything and is still waking up at 3 a.m. She may be 5 quiet methods away from the sleep she stopped believing was possible. And subscribe if you want more on the real science behind Japanese daily habits and why they work when everything else doesn't. We will see you in the next one.